you chat?
Always. Hello.
Hiya.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. You've downgraded. When I asked you a little bit ago, you said you were excellent. Has something changed?
I just like to vary up the vocab.
Oh, yeah. I usually just say good. World crumbling, good.
I actually fucking hate when you ask someone how they are and they're like, not so great. You're like, fuck.
But isn't that like the nature of the question or no?
I know, but like, I normally, unless like something happened, I'm like, how are you doing? Otherwise, I'm like, hey, how are you?
Good.
It's like, I say, hey, how are you?
Follow the script, man.
As much as like, it's just as baseline as saying hello. Hey, how are you? Like you say it to, that literally just happened to me last week. I said it to someone at work. I was like, hey, how are you? And they're like, honestly, not great. And I was like,
I mean, I hear you, but isn't that just like a symptom of the human condition? Like, we don't give a shit. Hey, how are you? Good. Moving on.
yeah, please do not. I'm not asking to hear about what's going on.
Oh,
Are you?
I mean,
In passing?
in passing, if you have a good story.
It's just like, you're not ready for that. Like if I walked in here just now, like you were in the bathroom when I walked in and I saw Tyler and I was like, hi, how are you? He was like, good. If he was like, had better days, this thing at work, I'd be like, all right, I'm.
Wouldn't you want to console a friend? Thank you for being a friend. Not you.
Travel down the road and back again.
You're like, not here to be a friend.
I'm happy to console a friend. It's just like, it's, I wasn't ready for that.
Oh, there's something has to tee you up.
Yeah, like I'm just standing in the doorway and I'm
Accosted
with that. You know, like if I'm sitting down ready to settle in, it's like, oh, okay, you know, what happened at work?
Lay it on me.
Right.
Okay.
But you're just standing there, coffee and keys in hand, and it's like, honestly, not great. You're like, all right, well, I'm about to go
I got to get going.
record, so see ya.
Yeah, I hear you. I just think we all need to connect a little more. Wouldn't
Really?
kill us. It wouldn't kill us.
Even with people you don't care about?
I care about everyone. That's not true. But I just mean like...
That is a burden I can't possibly bear.
Maybe that's why I feel so burdened. My care.
Yeah, your care is too high.
I am an empath.
So you say.
I am. I feel things so deeply.
I don't really know what that means.
It means exactly that. I feel other people's emotions. And being sincere, extremely deeply. It can be debilitating.
Oh, you have DE, debilitating empath.
Yes.
It's a very special
like
condition.
If you are upset, like you specifically or like anyone close to me, I can sense it and I can feel it and it weighs on me.
No, because you'll be like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing.
I am right 100% of the time.
That's actually infuriating because I'm like, nothing is wrong.
But something is wrong. You just maybe aren't ready to admit it to yourself.
Oh, I don't even know something's wrong.
You do know, but you don't know what it is. And then a couple days later, I'm like, that's what it was. It always circles back.
That's not true.
It's true. I'm 100% right. I'm clocking other people's moods.
Wrong-o.
Righto. Right-a-roni.
I wish that you would like be more aware that sometimes you could be wrong because you won't let it go and you're like, I don't know what else to tell you. Nothing is wrong. And you're like, I know that it is.
I do. I can't admit that I'm wrong when I'm right.
I think you think so. They don't know that you know that they know.
Exactly.
You think so because something is always wrong for you.
Nope.
You're like, I know what it feels like to always have something feel wrong.
No, something can feel right in my world and someone else's mood brings me down a notch. Every day.
I'm not affected by people's moods, really.
And that's thrilling for you. That must be really nice.
I would say like one of the chapters in my autobiography is that sounds like a you problem.
I listen, I think that's amazing and I wish I could do it. I think about that all the time. I wish I could unburden myself of other people's shit. I'm just not capable of it.
Haven't you heard that like really popular, the Mel Robbins let them theory? So let them.
But
I've been living that way forever.
But the problem
since I came out of the womb.
But when I let them, but I'm still upset. So I'm letting them and I'm upset. It doesn't matter.
That's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Cutting off your nose to spite your face. I've heard them all.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're doing something hoping for a result that's only hurting you.
Correct.
I live in this.
You can't just let them.
I try. I certainly try. And sometimes I'm better at it than others, but I'm just so deeply affected. Like, I just want everyone to be happy and good. And when they aren't, I'm really affected.
But we live in real life. Like, this is not Pleasantville. Sometimes shit comes up and you're like, ugh.
No, I know. And then I carry that burden with them.
For anyone who hasn't heard of the let them theory, not that I'm an expert in this, but Mel Robbins, who is like
she's like a podcaster, a speaker, motivational gal.
Yeah, influential person of some type, has this theory of like the let them theory, which is like, just let them. Like, if you're like, well, what if they're going to be mad at me? Or what if I do this and then this happens? Or what if like they say this about me? The thought is to just be like, so let them. Then let them do that. And
It sounds lovely.
That's for them.
I'm not quite capable of it. I would love to let them. But then I let them and then I also perseverate with them. Like, I can let them with acquaintances and like my outside the circle of trust group. Like, I'm not worrying about Joe Schmo, but like my close group, my close-knit people, their moods really impact me.
Yeah, of course. My closest people, I'm not going to be like, oh, they're upset with me for doing this. And I'm like, okay, let them. Like,
it sounds lovely. I do think people do that too. Like, I think people are like, I had good intentions. I did what I could.
Yeah, no, not with people I care about, but anyone else, don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really nice. I blame my family.
It's the familial trauma.
I just think that like my family was worriers. My family was very much like worried about how other people felt all the time, which is lovely and nice. But when you internalize that as a small little gal.
I was actually in like a, continuing ed seminar thing to keep up my certification credit. And the speaker was talking about family trauma and inherited trauma. And they were saying how they're a clinical psychologist, but they had a patient who was coming in because like she found parenting very stressful, and she was like, I always looked forward to being a mother. Like, she was like, I was very close with my family growing up, but like, every family has their own shit. And she's like, but now being a parent is like extremely stressful for me. And she's like, especially the toddler years where they're like, there's like a lot of like tantruming.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a verb?
We made it one, so now it is.
Yes.
A lot of tantrums.
A lot of tantrums. And in like her work with this person, she got to this like point, I guess, where yelling is a trigger for her.
Oh.
Because there was like a lot of yelling in her house growing up. Like, that was how
they fought.
They were like, they were yellers. Like, they'd yell at her. They'd yell at each other. Yeah. Old yeller. And so the yelling, even though her toddler isn't yelling,
it's just yelling because it's a toddler
at her.
Yeah.
It's like yelling, and it like triggers something in her. Why are you smiling?
No, because like I do believe in like stuff. Like I'm so into therapy, but sometimes I'm like, our ancestors would be like, shut the fuck up.
No, really. But I was like,
but like, it's necessary. I get it. It just sounds so hippy dippy. Like, her toddler is triggering her.
well, I think the whole thing was that she should know like what it is that's making it so stressful for her, and then just be like, okay, like, this isn't like a fight or flight. Like,
this is just the normal day.
Just like understanding how to process what's going on in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yelling is a trigger for you.
I hate yelling. But it made me think about
like yelling for me. I'm like, go off, queen.
I don't even like aggressive tones.
Oh my God, aggressive tones.
Like, I just think you can communicate calmly. Like, why is that so hard?
I'm not a yeller though.
No, but you get like stern when you're annoyed, and I don't like that either. Like,
You don't like sternness?
no, like,
I've literally, in the millions of years that we've been close, I've never yelled at you.
No. I'm not saying you yell.
And we've had some arguments.
Of course. No, I understand. But I like calm communication. Like, I am annoyed with you because of X.
I do that.
Yes, but like with an angry undertone.
How else are you supposed to express things when you're angry?
I don't know. I don't like it though. I don't like anger. Like, I want calmness. I want to argue with someone in a spa. Like, with,
whisper yelling.
Like, hushed tones.
Why the fuck did you do that?
Yes. But with like serene music on, perhaps like a cucumber water. Like, like I want it to feel very serene. That's what it is. I want to have a spa disagreement.
Okay. Well, why don't you try having that in your mind? Just pretend that's where you are.
Oh, okay. No, I understand. It's my own thing. I don't like arguments. Arguments are a trigger for me.
Your mom is a yeller?
Not really. She's actually more of just a stern talker.
Oh, maybe that's why it's triggering.
Like an angry, like an angry communicator.
Who was the yeller?
My grandparents yelled.
Your grandpa yelled?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. But like in almost like a funny way.
But I feel like he yelled at Mo to like shut the fuck up.
He just like yelled like if he was annoyed. Like it wasn't even to anyone in particular. He would be like, Jesus Christ. Like it was just to the universe. Did your parents not yell? They're not really yellers.
I mean, like my mom for sure. My dad is not a yeller. My mom could be. I wouldn't like say like
not a classic yeller. She can get there.
But I think that's partially why I think yelling is like so
silly,
ineffective. Yeah, like whenever she would be like really mad, like screaming at me, I would literally just be staring at her like, you look so fucking ridiculous right now.
Yelling is silly. Like it is
like
silly.
I was just like, you're like popping off and I think this is crazy.
I mean, yeah, like yelling is ridiculous. Like what does it do? You just are louder.
You're just being louder.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of funny actually.
I would have loved to see your grandpa yell at Mo. She was unaffected.
Yeah, my grandparents.
Talk about somebody being unaffected.
My grandparents like argument language was yelling at one another, but neither like how I'm impacted.
That was their love language.
No, neither was impacted. Like neither was even phased.
Yeah.
That was just like a Tuesday.
Off topic. I can't remember who I was just talking to about this, but we were just talking about like people's like wishes when they die.
Yeah.
Someone had a funeral. Was it someone famous just died? I can't remember. Someone had like a funeral and they were like, I don't think that's what they wanted though. I think that's what the spouse wanted. And I was like, isn't that always how it goes? Like if you put in the only way that paperwork like sees the light of day is if the person who is alive presents the paperwork. So like if you die and then your husband is there to like carry out your plans and they're looking and they're like, she wanted to be cremated, I'm having a whole burial for this motherfucker.
Like, I don't think the will gets brought up unless there's like tension,
right?
Like if the kids are like, yeah, whatever dad wants. Like, not to switch topics abruptly, but I just want to get your take on this really quickly. So we had a couch delivered today to Tyler's office and the delivery people scratched about 11 foot scratch into our hardwood.
Of the floor?
Of the floor.
What did they drag? A knife?
It was a sword.
They brought their sword in.
Tyler thinks that like the corner of the legs of the couch were not attached, but like the corner of the leg was like resting on one side of it, and they might not have noticed it. So when they like whipped it in, he said also they were acting like they were in a rush. Like they showed up 30 minutes before the delivery window and were acting like the house was on fire.
Well, they're like, the sooner we get this done, the sooner we go home. Let's go, boys.
Literally, I feel like it's like they chugged a Red Bull and we're like, go. So anyways, it's about an 11-foot scratch in our hardwood.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
why weren't they carrying it? Why were they just dragging it across? What kind of delivery is this? I could have done that myself.
Like, I can drag it. Thank you. We paid for white glove service. That's what really makes me LOL. Like,
I love when they call it that. Like I'm on the fucking Titanic.
We selected white glove service. I am not upset though. Am I crazy? Like, I'm like, they're going to fix it. Everyone has a bad day at work. Yeah. Everyone makes a mistake.
What does that mean they're going to fix it though? Like they're going to come and buff out and refinish your floor?
No, they said they have a guy that will come and restain it and buff it.
Oh, he's coming here with a brown crayon. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I wouldn't be pissed until I see
the fix. And if the fix isn't there, I'm like, well, this isn't the fix. Like Tyler called me and I could tell he was kind of annoyed. And I think he thought I was going to be annoyed. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, so they said they're going to come back out. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not upset at all. And I feel like that's something that would stress me out. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, okay. We'll see. Let them.
Let them fix it. No, that's how I'd be too. Like, all right, well, if they're going to come fix it and it's not going to cost us anything.
Like, who amongst us hasn't made a mistake at work? Who hasn't chugged a Red Bull and scratched someone's wood floor? Like,
and then you're like, whoopsie daisies, we will absolutely fix that. Have a good one.
Tyler said they were like out of here. They took pictures. They were like, yeah, we'll send someone. He was like, where are you going?
To be a fly on the wall when Tyler pointed that scratch out to them.
He said they were fine.
He was probably standing in the kitchen staring at the floor like
so pissed.
And he's like, excuse me,
fellas. He said the guy was like, oh man, I'm really sorry. Like, took a couple pictures and was like, I'll have someone come out. And Tyler was like, okay. So I was like, are you upset? He's like, no, I mean, I guess he's like, maybe I'll see if I can pay the guy on the side to fix some of the other scratches we have. I'm like, 2 birds, 1 stone.
You're like, and while you're here, do you replace carpeting?
The guy's like, I have to leave. We're like, no, don't go yet. All right, well, I'm glad I'm not crazy.
No.
Would you like an icebreaker?
Absolutely.
It's kind of Easter themed, kind of not. Do you have any traumatic experiences with holiday caricatures? Santa, the Easter Bunny, a leprechaun? Like
that I remember?
That you recall or have been told about?
I think I was told that I was one time brought to an Easter brunch when I was a baby and like burst into tears.
Kids hate those damn things.
But I thought that that's how Jack was going to be. And he loves animals. He grabbed onto that bunny's nose.
He did love that.
And he was like, this is a real life bunny.
Hello. I see all these people around this time of year and then around Christmas, they post their kids
sitting on Santa's lap.
And 70% of the kids look like they think they're being abducted.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you are super comfortable sitting on an old white man's lap with a long beard and you just want to snuggle right in, I think there might be a problem.
It's strange. And people are like, sit on Santa's lap. I am always reminded at this time of year when I took an Easter photo in a mall in Georgia. And when the photo came back, it was back in the days when they had to develop a photo and mail it to you. So they mailed the photos to our home. I was so excited to see myself with the Easter Bunny. I was about 8 years old. Maybe 6. We look at the photos, and the way the flash had hit this man's costume in the giant smile of the Easter Bunny was the person playing the Easter Bunny's eyes. And I will post this photo for everyone to see. And I was so traumatized, and my family's solution to this, specifically my uncle's solution, was to tell me that I shouldn't worry because I'm a good child, and this was actually a bad child who'd been eaten by the Easter Bunny, which sent me into a tailspin to think that these large holiday-themed characters... That
those eyes in there were a child trapped? That's what he thought would be a good idea?
Yes, and so for years, I was terrified of the Easter Bunny, and the Easter Bunny had to leave my baskets in the garage. My mom had to make me feel better and tell me the Easter Bunny wasn't coming into our house.
Dad.
Because I was terrified that this man could get into the house.
He took all the fun out of Easter.
Yes. I'll post it for everyone to see. It was alarming, I will say. And he did come up with something on the fly.
Did you turn to your uncle and say, like, you're kind of a dick? How come he doesn't eat you?
I was 6 at the time. I was kind of like, so we're all doomed. Oh, God, trauma.
That's trauma.
That's some family trauma. So I was just curious if you had your own trauma.
Jack did not like sitting on Santa's lap at all. No. But he did love the Easter Bunny.
He does love animals, though. That's what really helps.
That just reminded me when I had to meet up with my coworker the other day to give her some stuff. And she was like, I'm just at Starbucks working with my 1-year-old. And her baby was laying in like the stroller, like taking a nap, and she was sitting at a table working. I was like, talk about a working mom, you know, like
can do it all.
She's out at a Starbucks. And I peeked into the stroller and he opened his eyes and he was like big smile, reached up for me to grab him. I was like, oh my God. So I picked him up and was like holding him, and he like wanted to fall asleep on me, and I was like, oh my God, he's so sweet. My kid never would have done this. Like, he would have been like, ah!
Stranger.
And she was like, no, like, you have to worry about him. Like, he'll just go to anybody.
That is concerning.
She was like, if I like went to go get a refill on my coffee and left him in this stroller, someone would like come by and he'd be like, hello, take me
home.
with you. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I was with my friend's baby this morning, and he was in like a playpen and she was in the other room, and he started to cry, and so I went to get him, and at first he was crying because of something unrelated, and he let me pick him up and console him, and then he suddenly realized that I was the one consoling him, and that sent him into a different tailspin.
He was like, holy fuck.
He was like, I was upset about something else, now I'm pretty upset about this.
He was like, yes, thank you for Did you want to bring up your newfound love for golf?
Oh my God, yes, thank you. I became a super fan over the Masters weekend, and now I cannot consume enough golf content. I'm watching Full Swing on Netflix. Obsessed. The art of golf, I'm going to call it art. It's a sport and it's an art, is so fascinating. And the guys are so fun and like chill. Even when they're high strung, they're wearing their polos.
I don't think golfers are actually known for being fun and chill. I think they're known for being like kind of unlikable.
I mean, I'm new to the fandom.
Oh, okay.
But I will say there are some that are super unlikable, but there's some that are really likable and nice. Like this guy, Joel Damon. He's just a mid-level golfer. He's not in the top 10. He makes an amazing living. Like he's in the top 100.
Yeah.
He's just like a chill bro. He wears these bucket hats.
Regular dude.
He just like loves the game of golf.
Well, yeah, that sounds normal. A lot of them are like fucking...
Well, I think it's about the mental game. They get really bogged down, as we saw Bryson DeChambeau.
What was in DeChambeau?
DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau.
But I heard he's kind of a dick, so I didn't care.
Well, that was like the whole... This was explained to me by my husband, who is a mega golf fan. When he was at the Masters this year, and when he came home, he was explaining like the etiquette of being at
an event like that,
Augusta National, and you can't have the phones, and like it's so fucking, and I'm like, why is this? Because he's like, it's not supposed to be like a sporting event, like it's supposed to like honor the time old tradition of golf.
It's steeped in tradition, which I love.
Even like the scoreboard though, like could we make that digital?
No. It's part of the tradition.
Okay.
Tradition.
Like when you're there and there's like people who like, camp out at the 18th hole because they want to see. They don't see what's going on. They don't have a screen.
And they don't have a phone to check.
So they're just literally sitting there staring
at the beautiful greens.
At the blades of grass.
Yeah. And I love it.
You want to do that?
I don't know, because I was texting. I was like, oh my God, I'm having a Masters viewing party next year. And
you're having a Masters
viewing party. I've decided.
My husband won't be there.
Well, Tyler was like hoping that because he puts himself in the lottery every year. So Tyler was like hoping that he gets it. He's like, maybe I'll get to go. And Mike was like, well, maybe you'll be there if Tyler gets it on the lotto. And I was like, I'm too new. Like if Tyler got tickets, I would want him to take golf fans.
Yeah.
So I'll still be home for the viewing party. But in a couple of years, if I commit to this hobby, I would absolutely love to go to the Masters. It's so chic. It's so high end. It reeks of money.
Yes, I mean, it's like
money.
It's like, I don't know why, and I think probably like people are gonna come for me if I say this, but something about the Kentucky Derby feels like
icky.
I
agree.
Like,
I also don't love horse racing.
Well, yeah, I don't appreciate the treatment of the horses at all. But like the Kentucky Derby feels like not sleazy. It's very like it's supposed to be like really like high end Southern.
Yeah.
What's the word? Not chic. Like antebellum things.
Era, yeah.
Yes. But like it's gotten too mainstream maybe.
I don't know. It's just
like people have derby parties.
I just don't really care about horse racing. That feels icky to me.
I just think like the Masters feels more like more like elusive. Like I don't know what the
because
fuck
you don't
was
have
on there.
phones, so you're
Right.
not posting the whole thing.
Yeah.
You watch it on TV, but like you're not getting like Instagram reels and like stories of the pros, which is a little bit more exclusive. And we
Yeah.
love exclusivity.
I mean, I knew like nothing about my brother-in-law's like the biggest fan of golf.
Dying.
And you know, he's like going to the Masters is like
His dream.
yeah, so you know, now that they were there this year, they're going again next year. It's like
It's a big deal.
big deal for the golf fans.
Big deal. Yeah, no. Tyler
And for you now,
For me now. I'm part of the community.
the new golf fan.
Yeah. I plan to stay a while, so we'll see how it goes.
But you were rooting for Rory.
I was. I just, again, I know people have mixed feelings in the legitimate golf fandom. I just loved the story of it. He needed to complete his Grand Slam. He's been golfing a billion years. Seems like a nice guy. Nice enough.
I think that was kind of was that he doesn't seem like a nice guy. No?
I don't think he's like an asshole. He definitely spoke out against like Live Golf a lot, which was the one that was talking about that was like Saudi Arabia trying to sports wash,
Right.
which I can get behind. He didn't just take a quick paycheck, which makes me respect him more. But I was happy to see him win. I know others were not. But again, as I am the true oracle of sports, I said he was going to win, and he did. Your husband left our house that morning like he's a little rocky. He's not really consistent, and I said I stand with Rory.
He'll come through.
He comes through. Is it scaring you at all the way that it's scaring me that the Trump administration deported a man who they claimed was a gang member and has now been found out he is not and won't bring him back?
The El Salvador.
Yes.
Can you give me the details on that?
Yeah, as I understand them, I'm no expert. So the Trump administration enacted a rule, I would say. It's like a wartime rule that they basically don't have to follow due process if it's a threat to national security or terrorism or things like that. And they were able to deport a large number of MS-13, a really infamous gang, members and affiliates to El Salvador.
That's what we want.
Yes. Yes, but also I do think this country should.
You don't want us to deport gang members here illegally?
I do, but I think the earmark of this country is due process. Like, I just think that is what makes us different than being able to send people to a gulag. Is like, it's a slippery slope when you just point at people and
What's
say,
a gulag?
what is the technical definition of a gulag? Like a wartime prison. Yeah.
Well, that's not a word I've ever heard.
You've never heard like off to the gulag?
No.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Okay. So we don't want everyone sent to the gulag.
I don't like, it makes me uneasy, which is what I've said from the beginning, that the government can say you are who you are and have done what you've done and not present any sort of evidence. It's kind of like if you're in school and someone is just like, Johnny's bullying me, and the teacher is like, take it at face value, you're suspended.
It's kind of like when you get like a a speeding ticket in the mail, and it's like, we clocked you going 40 and a 30, and you're like, I wasn't.
Yeah, like there's no recourse.
You're like, not really.
Well, yeah, that, because like, who is clocking me? Like, I've always fought the system on that.
Yeah.
But so anyways, so they deported all these people, and then it came to light that one of the men that they deported, whilst he does have a criminal record, has never been proven to be affiliated with MS-13. There's no written documentation that this is a gang member or he's carried out any sort of gang crimes.
How did they find this guy?
How did they find any of these guys? I'm assuming they went through court documents, but it was a rushed procedure. They kind of threw this together. It was like 238 men that they deported overnight, literally. The courts were fighting it. They were saying, like, literally turn the plane around. They still deported all of them, which is just a problem in general to have the administration at odds. And now this man, Abrego Garcia, is being held in El Salvador. The president of El Salvador, who's, by the way, a dictator, has said he's not bringing him back. The Trump administration has made zero effort to bring him back.
Is this man even like from El Salvador?
No, he is.
He is.
Yeah, he is. But he was here and has now obtained some sort of legal status. Also,
like, he's like, I'm Puerto Rican, motherfucker.
No,
I don't know any of these people.
So he has obtained some legal status. He should not have been a part of this group. The courts have ordered him to be brought back multiple times. No one's bringing him back. And there's no real recourse.
So
Like,
what can we do?
nothing.
Is he in a prison there?
Yeah, he's in the prison with like hardcore fucking criminals.
And they mistook him for someone else, or
So I guess at other points there were allegations, like there had been times where he had been allegedly part of the gang, but it was never proven in court documents. Like there's no evidence that what these people say is true. Now, maybe they were.
just to clarify, this man was probably in a gang.
I don't want to say probably at some point,
Okay.
but and that's what everyone keeps saying, like he is a criminal. It's not that I'm discounting whether or not this man is or isn't a criminal. What freaks me the fuck out is that they didn't have to prove it.
Right.
Like that becomes a very slippery slope.
Yes, I agree with that.
So like whether or not he is or isn't really isn't of any matter here, because he wasn't at the caliber of the other men who were deported under this extreme case, which was basically like they're a threat to our security. He was only convicted of like shoplifting and like petty crimes.
Oh.
Now, whether or not he is and he just got off scot-free, don't know. And that's that's something for the justice system here to deal with.
Well, you have much faith in the justice
I
system.
don't. And not with Trump at the helm. I don't.
You
Very
want
little.
to.
I would like to. But he's never been convicted of a crime that would warrant this. So,
How did they know that he was in a gang then?
it's like, I'm going to just overgeneralize this, but if there's gang activity and the police come through and they pick up 10 guys and they can surmise that they're all part of the same gang, but one gets a better lawyer, one doesn't confess, one gets off. If it's not written in the court documents, if they are not convicted of that, you can't decide it's true. That is the beauty of our justice system.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably hung out with a lot of gang members. Whether or not he was literally in the gang or affiliated, no clue. But he doesn't meet the criteria for the deportation, which was already kind of a fucked up criteria.
Interesting.
So,
And that's probably happening to... Why is this such a big story? Isn't this probably happening like to other
'cause
people?
we're not typically deporting people at this volume.
No, I'm saying like now there's a lot more people being deported. How come this guy,
Because
he's the first one to be wrongfully, they think?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would assume it's probably because this was so shocking the way they did it. Like it was like 24 hours. Like we're rounding these people up and sending them. There was no time for anyone to even look into the legitimacy of it.
Well, I personally am for deporting convicted criminals who are also here illegally.
I'm not opposed to that either. I think if you're convicted of a crime and you don't have the proper paperwork, you don't go to jail here. You go to jail in your country of origin.
Yeah, like what are you doing here?
100%. But
I thought this was supposed to be like the land of opportunity,
But
and then you're here doing crimes?
it makes me uneasy that basically what's happening is the Trump administration is saying we want these people out, and then they snap their fingers and they're out. That's not what we're built on. And he's creating all this fear around illegal immigrants who are not always the enemy. There are a lot of undocumented people here who pay taxes, who are part of society.
I agree with that for sure.
And so to like kind of create this fear around people being here without the proper paperwork and then round up 200 of them and deport them and then whoopsie have one be there that shouldn't.
Right.
It's a little unsettling. That's all I'm going to say.
And even more so for the kids, like there's obviously kids know what's going on. Like even if you're not here illegally, but like your parents were here, are
my
here
God,
illegally,
terrifying.
and you live with your parents, like to feel like they like might not be there when you come home every day.
And he wants to rescind, right? He wants to rescind the ability for undocumented people's children to be citizens.
The dreamers.
Not dreamers. It's called birthright. The Trump administration has vocalized wanting to rescind. Basically, if you come to a country undocumented and you give birth in that country,
Your child is a citizen.
automatically a citizen. He wants to rescind that because it has in the past incentivized undocumented people coming to the U.S. to give birth, to give their child legal status. Dreamers were kids who were not born here, but were here for long enough and were they were given dreamer status, that they were honorary given the citizenship.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Dreamers?
No, not dreamers. Like people coming here, giving birth, and then their kids just automatically being citizens. I think there's 9 times out of 10 that's probably just for like a good thing.
Yeah.
The people who are doing that
to give their children an opportunity.
Right. There's probably like, I don't know. I guess there's probably data on like people who were born here, whose parents were here legally, and then they ended up being a murderer.
But that we have our own.
Isn't that
like Jeffrey Dahmer was a citizen born
isn't that just like
that's just
luck
the way
of the
it
draw?
happens. And that's what it. When he says that, it's like we have enough of our own homegrown criminals. Oklahoma City bombing, U.S. All these school shooters, white American citizens. Like the person who tried to shoot Trump, white U.S. citizen.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily think preventing people. We are the fucking melting pot. Like it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I think, yes, we have sort of gotten far away from like
our roots.
That is what America is. Like it's like people coming here
from a million different places.
From a million other places.
Yeah, I know. Makes me sad. Like, are we going to rescind the citizenship of the Florida State shooter? He's a sheriff's deputy's kid. No illegal immigrant in sight.
That's like such a big part of the story.
Yeah.
There was a shooting on Florida State's campus and a couple people died, a few were injured, and like a huge headline from the story is that the shooter was a
sheriff's deputy's
child. So like a police officer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that what a sheriff's deputy does?
They just work for the sheriff's office.
Which is like, I don't know if that's anything other than just ironic. Why is that so?
I think in a sort of time when like people are not pro law enforcement as much, it's kind of like a nice cherry on top from like that perspective. I don't think it has any bearing. Like, of course, sheriff's deputies and cops' kids have mental illness. Yeah,
they have
anger issues.
They have
like
shit just like anybody's kids do.
I mean, and it was a personal. He took. I think it was his mom's personal weapon that he took. It's sad, but I don't necessarily think it should.
Honestly, I think that's better than some of these like dumbass parents who buy a weapon for their
already suicidal, angry child.
What's the word?
Sadistic.
Yes, already sadistic kid.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he took his mom's... What are you supposed to do? Like...
I mean, I don't think that's a big part of the story. I think it's sad either way, but it's just so interesting in a time when the Trump administration is trying to paint undocumented people as, like, the big threat, and we have a school shooting, you know, every fucking 2 months, and they're primarily white citizens of this country. It's like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Are we deporting them somewhere?
Right. Speaking of dilemmas.
You got one?
I have one.
Okay.
It's Easter themed.
Oh, we love Easter themed.
It's an Easter themed dilemma. Coming off the heels of Easter.
Hop.
So this girl wrote in, I'm going to summarize it because it's kind of long, but basically she says that she is Catholic. She was raised Catholic. Her parents are pretty religious. She met her now husband in college. He's Jewish. It was like never really a big deal because neither of them are like religious enough for it to be a big deal.
Got it.
I think it's more that their parents are the more religious versions.
Okay.
And so they're married now. They had a baby last year, and this is their like first Easter with a baby. And her parents want her and her husband and the baby to come to church for Easter.
Okay.
Which her and her husband have never gone to church with her parents before. She has, obviously, but not like together as a couple.
Okay.
And they also don't go to temple with his family. And they decided that they are going to raise their children kind of just a mixture of both, like nothing too extreme on either end.
Okay.
And they're like, we're not going to have a baptism and we're not going to have a bris.
Okay. Got it.
So more just like, I guess, like the commercial aspects.
Yeah. The highlights.
Give them the highlights.
Yeah.
And And so the parents were like, they celebrate Easter with her family because his family is Jewish. And the parents were like, okay, yeah, we're going to do church in the morning and then go to brunch, which I think is a common Easter plan. Mm-hmm. And she was saying this to her husband. And he was like, okay, so we'll just meet them at brunch after. And she was like, no, they want to do church first. And he was like, but we're not going to church.
Interesting.
And she was like, oh, I don't know. I just kind of saw it as like a part of going to Easter. And he's like, we don't go to temple with my parents, even though it's a part of Yom Kippur.
But we could.
And so she's writing in saying like they had decided to raise this child and their future children, a combo of everything.
Omni-religious.
But something doesn't sit right with her about not going to church on Easter. And she says at the end of this, like, maybe it's her own, like, maybe she's like, I feel like I should go to church on Easter. Mm-hmm. Is church like if you're gonna go to church one day a year, it's Easter
and Christmas?
Well, I don't know what happened to her on Christmas.
Yeah, they must have Christmas less people go to. Easter is the holiest day.
Easter is the holiest day. And Good Friday, or no, people don't do that.
People can go on Good Friday. There's also like Stations of the Cross that you do every week. That more religious people will go to. Okay. But yeah, if you're gonna pick a day to go to church, it's Easter.
Okay, so she's feeling that herself, apparently. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I just feel like if we don't do it this year, then it'll like set a tradition, and it feels like a big decision to make. When she's like, I kind of felt like we had decided before, and when my parents were like, we're gonna go to church on Easter, obviously. She was kind of like assuming, because that's just the norm of how they celebrate Easter. And she didn't think really anything of it.
Interesting.
So she's like, should I like come back to my husband and be like, we need to go back to the drawing board on this? Or say to my parents, like, we'll just meet you after?
That is interesting. I'm curious what your take is.
Okay. Are you still thinking?
No, I have my take. But it's more prevalent to you. Like you...
Oh, because I'm a mix too.
Yeah, like this could actually have happened to you. So I'm just curious how you feel.
Yeah, you're right. I am a mix. I mean, I'm not a mix.
Yeah.
I'm in a mixed
marriage.
I'm in a mixed marriage. A half-blood home. I think personally that a little religion of any kind even is not a bad thing.
Definitely not.
Like, to incorporate a little bit of Buddhism. None of us are Buddhist, but like there's some nice principles there.
My mom will tell you this. I have said it since I was a little girl.
This bitch, she's like, I'm gonna let you give your take, and here we are.
No, I have to say this because it goes in line, and then you can get back to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you finish. But when I was a little girl, I used to say this to my mom. This might be a hot take. I actually don't think any of us are right. I think each of us got a little piece of the puzzle. I think heaven is real. I think you're going to get there and God's going to be like, this was right. This was right. The only one, I think, Scientology, I think they missed the boat entirely. Sorry to say.
Know what the fuck's going
on
on
I think
there.
Major religions, there's so much overlap and so much
Mormonism?
In Mormonism.
Do you think that's part of it?
I think from the Christian perspective, I think they lost the plot with the multiple wives and living on like ranches. But like the meat of so many religions has so many similarities. I just kind of think it's a pick your own. I think it's a buffet.
Okay.
I just don't think that God's going to get up there and be like, okay, Buddhist, you got it right. You go to the right. Everyone else left.
Yeah. No, I think for sure. It's not like you get up there and to heaven and they're like, and which hat were you wearing again?
That was wrong.
But I think that, so like going to church on Easter, that doesn't feel like too crazy. Like it's fucking Easter. Like it's not like they're like,
put that on a shirt. It's fucking Easter.
Go to church. It's fucking Easter. It doesn't feel too overzealous to me personally. We don't go to church for Easter because my in-laws don't anymore. They used to. I think if they did and that's how they were celebrating as a family, like when you marry into somebody's family and you've like said like, I'm going to celebrate these holidays with you, it's kind of weird for you to dictate how to celebrate in like a time-honored tradition such as Easter and the Masters.
I was just about to say the Masters. It's like when you go, you have to follow. I agree. I think by deciding to raise your kids, it's different if you have the conversation like we're raising our kids Catholic, we're raising our kids Jewish. Then I think it's like we've picked a lane, we've had a conversation, we're going to be very committed to this. That is totally right. But if you've made the commitment to raise them with a little bit of both, I think you need to raise them with a little bit of both. Like raising your kid with a little bit of Catholicism is not like a Cadbury egg.
Right.
And raising your kid with a little bit of Judaism is not like matzah crack.
Right.
Like you got to immerse them a little bit culturally and religiously to really say you're being omni-religious, or just say we're not observing any religion. That's more what it is if you're going to totally remove the religious services and beliefs.
Right.
Neither's bad. We've just crossed our wires here.
Yeah, I don't think like, especially this baby being so new, I don't think that they're going to, you know, this is going to set the course of their religiousness going to church on Easter when they're, you know, 6 months old or however old this baby is.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could just totally go this year and then be like, we'll talk about it for the future.
Yeah. I think
They've never gone, it sounds like that they've never gone with her parents in the past, but like now with the baby, it's like more of a thing, I guess. But I don't know. I'm torn on this one. I just think you can't do too much. That's actually worse. It's worse to do too much. Like you can't have, I personally feel like you can't have a communion and a bar mitzvah.
I actually don't think the church and or synagogue will let you.
I think some probably would.
Everything I know about the sacraments in Catholicism is each one, much like a bar mitzvah, you're committing yourself further to that religion as an adult. And especially by the time you get to confirmation, you're saying as an adult, I choose this religion. I don't know what religion would say you can choose us and another one.
But maybe you could have like, maybe you could do like a baby naming in a temple and baptism.
Yes, possibly, because those are of the hierarchy, the lowest rung.
Right. It's just like two committal ceremonies.
Two different religions, I will say.
No, I know.
It's like joining Slytherin and Hufflepuff. You can't be in two houses at Hogwarts.
An analogy that I don't understand.
People will. The people.
Yeah, I don't want to do that at all. That feels
confusing for the kid. And like, why is that even necessary? Just feels more like then it's more about the parents, you know? For sure.
That just makes it about you.
I do think two religions is tricky.
As someone who was raised
with a toe in a lot of ponds.
Yeah.
It is tricky. I respect why people want to do it and I get it. I'm not really for it.
Are you going to pick one lane?
I don't know. I want to, but I don't know if I have the commitment in me because I've been raised so many different things.
Right.
That it would be hard for me personally, but I don't know that it's great for your kid. I don't.
How do you decide what lane?
Flip a coin, as all people do with major life decisions.
Flip.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll put out 3 little symbols of the religions that are most prevalent in our life, and we'll let the baby crawl to one.
Oh, okay. Good. Or maybe you should let your dog Franny decide.
Yeah, we'll let Franny decide. And that's what we'll go with. I don't know. I just think that it is a little bit confusing. Like, what am I? And what do I align with?
Right.
And what are our traditions?
But the teachings of religions, like to children, other than the stories, which...
Well, Jesus does present a little bit of a stumbling block.
For Jews and Christians?
Yeah. Like, is he here or not?
Yeah, as someone who didn't grow up with any sort of education other than a Jewish education, I really knew nothing about Jesus.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cool dude, though.
People loved him. But I think when you're raised with a toe in both Judaism and Catholicism, as I was, Jesus is confusing. Is he just a carpenter or the Messiah?
But can't you just say, like, hey, He was a carpenter.
Maybe the Messiah.
And also he was like a really outspoken, like sort of like likable, sort of hippy dippy type who was like, you guys, we don't need to follow these crazy things. We could do this thing, and started his own, and then people followed that.
Yep, you can. You can do all this.
And then you're like, and so people who are Christian are the people who decided their ancestors followed Jesus.
Yep. That's the way you do it. I think it's all, listen, we are all doing the best we fucking can. Like, let me tell you that much. I don't think there's right or wrong, and I certainly don't know which is right or wrong. I do think omni-religious sounds really great when you have a 2-year-old. It's a little more confusing when they're 15.
Yeah, you want to give them some sort of something. No religion is a little like, so you just want them to be like
heathens. Just kidding.
I don't know, like just a little bit of a teaching that, like, you know, give them some sort of a little bit of that Jewish/Catholic guilt.
And it's the guilt is key.
Do Baptists feel guilty about anything? Sinning.
Yeah.
Have to learn more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you never.
The guilt comes naturally for both Jews and Catholics,
and it's overwhelming for me. I think maybe that's why I feel so burned by other people's feelings.
Just like the like underlying do the right thing.
I just think
that's the biggest takeaway.
It sounds like these two decided to do both, so you got to do both. And if you want to revisit, great. But doing both doesn't mean not doing either.
My advice would be for this year, it obviously seems like it feels right to you, dear listener, to go to church.
Follow your heart.
Yeah, like it's not sitting right with you. So like you just go, and maybe say to your husband, like, if you don't want to go, that's fine. I'm going to go with them this year, and you and the baby meet us after. Or you go with the baby and he can meet you after.
Yeah, it's not like the baby's absorbing anything this year.
Right.
It's kind of a lost year for him.
And then come back to it. But whatever you do, don't do a bar mitzvah and
a confirmation.
Pretty
sure you can't, but yeah, don't.
Don't do any of that.
It's really confusing.
But follow your heart, like Jesus.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I'll call you later.
Shabbat shalom.
Love ya.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.